Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. So, a couple of days ago, we spoke about the little Aleph in Vayikra, in the first word of the book of Leviticus, where God calls to Moses. And I wanted to touch on that from a different angle and perspective. You know, Michelangelo, in his famous depiction in the picture of Moses, he has Moses with horns on his head. And from there came the famous anti-Semitic idea that Jews have horns. Of course, that's not true. Jews don't have horns. But where did Michelangelo get that wrong depiction of how Moses is? Why would he have thought that Moses had horns? And the answer is because the word keren, which means horns, the same word pronounced differently could mean illuminate, to light, to shine. And in the Torah portion, it says that when Moses came down from getting the tablets from God, his face was illuminated. Karan or Panav. And Michelangelo read it as it had horns in it. Now, the question is, we know that Moses didn't have horns. We know that Moses' face was illuminated. But why was it so illuminated? Why was there such a great light? So there's a fascinating midrash that says that when God called Moses in the beginning of this week's Torah portion of Vayikra, Moses was a humble man. He didn't want to say, God called me. So he made the aleph of God calling him small because he was humble. But what did he do with the extra ink? He took the extra ink and he put it on his forehead. And from that extra ink, it illuminated and it brought a tremendous inner light to Moses. But what's the midrash telling us here? Moses took the ink and he put it on his forehead. But the truth is, this is a deep metaphor. What it's telling us is that what really makes us light, what makes us shine, what makes us be luminescent, it's the Torah that we learn. That wisdom of God, the values, the morals, the deeper esoteric part of the Torah makes us shine and makes us be illuminated. And that's what it means when it says that Moses put the ink on his forehead from the little Vayikra. That also gave him humility, his Torah learning. Now, this is especially important when it comes to the Seder. If you think about it, we sit around the Seder. You know, all the comedians always laugh. If they're non-Jewish comedian comes to a big dinner, the first dinner of the Jewish people, the main dinner of the year, and what do? They take out books. What do? We have discussions. We talk. What does Exodus mean? What does freedom mean? What does it mean to be a Jew? What does it mean to have values and morals? That's the story of the Jewish people. How much have our parents, grandparents sacrificed for us to get a Jewish education, for us to have Jewish values? It's a remarkable deep thing. And Pesach, it takes on a deeper meaning, but it's all that we have. Think about the words, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Moses taught the Jews the Torah Morasha. It's an inheritance for the Jewish people. But it's not just an inheritance. Someone said, what's the difference between an inheritance and a legacy? Inheritance is what you give to your children. A legacy is what you imbue within them. Moses gave us the Torah, and that makes us light. That makes us illuminate. And it's important as we sit down at the Seder with our families to instill that love for Torah, for values, for the ideas of the Torah, to illuminate the lights of our children. There's a famous 19th century great sage, one of the remarkable sages of the Jewish people. His name was the Ridvaz. And he grew up in a very poor home. And his parents sent him to Cheder, to yeshiva. But every month he had to pay so the teacher could support himself. And his parents didn't pay for a few months. They had no money. And one time his parents got a note from the teacher that if they didn't pay up, they would have to send his kid home. They had no way of being able to provide an education if people didn't pay. And his parents were devastated. And he remembers that night his father went to shul. After his parents read it, they were so sad. And that night his father went to shul, and he overheard in shul a wealthy, affluent man talking about the home he was building and saying that he can't find the stones he needs for the chimney, and he would pay substantial money. And immediately his father went home, and together with his mother, they went up to their chimney and they started taking out some of the stones. And they took out the stones from the chimney and they sold it to this man. And they immediately took the money and went to pay for his education. And the Ridvaz became one of the greatest sages. He was an author. He wrote books on Torah. Says he remembers that winter. It was cold in the house. They had no chimney. But the inner light and warmth of Torah and love that his parents had for Judaism illuminated the family and kept them warm and kept them happy that winter. Imagine the sacrifice people made for Jewish education, for Jewish values. And that's the story of the little ink on Moses' forehead, which made him Koranoi Ponav. His face was lit up, not with horns, with the light of Torah and warmth and the values that the Torah taught us. Have a great day.